This is Class 91.3.
Hello, 6 o'clock. Good morning and welcome to the Class Breakfast News. This news is live on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, Ho FM 92.1 in the Volta region, Dagbon FM 102.5 in Tamale, Radio 192.1 in the Upper West region, Radio Power 96 in Spain. Around the world, join us on classfmonline.com. Coming up, Parliament passes Tribunals Bill. Also, President Mahama nominates 3 from Supreme Court, and also Justice Atuguba accuses Parliament of prioritizing partisan interest.
I see this Parliament as standing for something else than the interests of Ghanaians. That's how I see it. Irrespective of honesty, fairness, good service to the people of Ghana.
Iyoko announces opening of Weja Children's Hospital after handing over agreement. Also, transport operators warn drivers against unapproved fare increases.
So, as part of our plans in curbing all these things, we've deployed our task force. The Commercial Transport Operators Task Force, together with the GPRT.
These plus many other stories, including African news, coming your way shortly.
This is the Class Breakfast News.
I am Elizabeth Aidoo and you're welcome to Class 91.3 FM. Let's settle for the details of the news. Parliament has passed the Tribunals Bill 2026, paving the way for the re-establishment of tribunals under a strengthened legal framework aimed at improving access to justice, reducing the backlog of court cases, and enhancing the administration of justice. The bill, which was read for the 3rd time and approved in accordance with Parliament's standing orders, and now awaits President John Dramani Mahama's assent before it becomes law. The legislation was laid before Parliament earlier this year by the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayeni, who argued that the new tribunal system would operate with constitutional safeguards and stronger oversight mechanisms to ensure fairness and accountability in the administration of justice.
These things are textually incorrect as far as the Constitution is concerned, because as you yourself drew his attention to the provision in Article 126 of the Constitution and 142, but let's start with 126. It provides an integrated judicial system that includes regional tribunals, and that also includes such lower courts or tribunals as Parliament may by law establish. And Mr. Speaker, this is exactly what we are doing. In terms of the regional tribunals, what we are doing is just simply amplifying the provisions of the Constitution in 126 and 124. In terms of the district tribunal, what we are simply doing is implementing 126 by creating a lower tribunal that will deal with criminal matters that have been specified in the bill, including those of illegal mining. So, Mr. Speaker, we are not creating a parallel justice system. We are simply amplifying what is provided for in the Constitution.
That's Attorney General Minister for Justice Dr. Dominic Ayeni. The passage of the bill followed the intense debate in the House. Minority Leader Alexander Fenyomake strongly opposed Clause 4 of the bill, which provides for the establishment of regional and district tribunals. He urged Parliament to expunge the provision, arguing that it was unnecessary and could create challenges within the justice system delivery.
I contend that creating this new tribunal system by this provision, Mr. Speaker, will bring chaos to the justice delivery system we have in our country. Mr. Speaker, this is populism. We need clarity. Justice must not just be done, must be seen to be done. Mr. Speaker, I remember the famous case of Tagore and Issa Abbas, where the respected Dr. Dominic Ayeni took the matter up at Court of Appeal. These were individuals who were convicted, and at the Court of Appeal, his argument was that a man may not just be convicted because of his own words. That is populism. He argued. He said every element of a crime must be proven. Lead evidence of probative value. That was the argument of the respected Dr. Ayeni. It was because we had a clarity, certainty in the law. We had a Court of Appeal well properly constituted. Today, You want to have a tribunal? A tribunal. Populism, choboy justice, choboy justice.
That's the Minority Leader Alexander Fenyo marking. The proposed legislation also faced opposition outside Parliament. The Trade Union Congress called for the withdrawal of the bill, warning that the re-establishment of the regional and district tribunals could revive painful memories of what it described as a bitter chapter in Ghana's history. Addressing a news conference yesterday, TUC Secretary General Joshua Ansan maintained that the proposal was not in the country's best interest.
Ladies and gentlemen, in January 2025, government commenced the noble exercise of reforming our national constitution. It established the Constitution Review Committee, chaired by Professor Kwesi Prempeh. In December 2025, the committee submitted its final report to government. In various meetings and submissions committee, what we currently have is the summary report of recommendations by the committee. The full report has not yet been published. It had also expected government on changing the constitution. This will form the basis for public debates and consultations, leading eventually to amendments of the constitution.
That's Secretary General for the Trade Union Congress, Joshua Ansa. Despite the opposition from the minority and organized labor, Parliament approved the bill after it was considered by the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee and a Judicial Committee. The legislation will now be transmitted to President John Dramani Mahama for assent before it takes effect. We'll bring you more details on this story subsequently. Now, President John Dramani Mahama has nominated 2 Court of Appeal judges and a former president of the Ghana Bar Association for appointment to the Supreme Court, subject to parliamentary approval. The nominees are Court of Appeal Justices Sophia Issa and Amwako Asante, as well as legal practitioner and former president of the Ghana Bar Association, Tony Forson. Justice Amwako Asante previously served as president of the ECOWAS Court of Justice before returning to the bench in Ghana. The nomination was made in consultation with the Judicial Council in accordance with Article 144 of the 1992 Constitution. If approved by Parliament, the appointment will increase the number of justices of the Supreme Court from 18 to 21, expanding the composition of Ghana's Apex Court. The 3 nominees are expected to undergo parliamentary voting before Parliament consider the approval. Justice Atuguba accuses Parliament of prioritizing partisan interest. The former justice criticized them of placing partisan political interests ahead of the national interest. He made this remark while delivering the guest speech at the 20th anniversary commemoration in honor of the first Speaker of the Fourth Republic, the late Justice Daniel Francis Annan, in Parliament.
I see this Parliament as standing for something else than the interests of Ghanaians. That's how I see it. Some of them are good, but others are immersed in loyalty to the party and to whoever, for the time being, is president, maneuvering to progress along the political ladder, irrespective of honesty, fairness, good service to the people of Ghana. That's what I have seen, and I've said it. I'm not saying these things out of spite, not at all, but it's necessary, because the ship of state has tilted very, very ominously. Happily, as I say, all is not lost.
He also questioned why the Member of Parliament for Koleklote, Dr. Senator Ajiman Rollins, has not been yet appointed to any ministerial position, describing her as a woman of principles whose leadership style and conduct should be emulated.
Somebody like Senator Rollins, she's not a politician. She's a woman of the people. I've been following her activities. I don't know, I've never spoken to her, never met her, but I'm convinced that that's the kind of politician people should aspire to be. Up till now, and that's why I don't get involved in political sector. I don't know why she's not yet a minister. I hope by saying that I've not destroyed her chances. From social media, since there are, sometimes they even announce her as Deputy Minister of Health. I say, oh, she could even be the substantive. There's something, but I think there's something that, why not? Why not?
That's the former Supreme Court Judge, Justice Williams Atuguba. Private legal practitioner Theophilus Jemega has cautioned that a criminal conviction can have
Class
lasting
91.3
consequences beyond a
FM.
prison sentence, citing the case of convicted TikToker Camila Al Hassan. She was sentenced to a 1 year imprisonment with third term labor by the Accra Circuit Court after pleading guilty to offensive conduct and publication of false news. The charges arose from videos she posted on social media claiming and falsely alleging without evidence that President Mahama buried 32 cows as part of rituals to secure victory in the 2024 general elections. Speaking on 505, Theophilus Jemega said that even if a convicted person succeeds in having a prison sentence reduced on appeal, the criminal conviction itself remain and could continue to have serious consequences.
You're joking. Even if the political party comes to hail you, you are going in alone. They will not go with you. Assuming this girl gets an appeal and it's even reduced to 6 months, 3 months, she would have wasted 3 months. And she becomes forever an ex-convict. She can't travel to the US, for example. She can't travel to Canada. And she can't get certain jobs. So forever, some doors are shut for her. So why will you put yourself in harm's way without being decent? We all post. Several people post. Even my 84-year-old mother.
That's private legal practitioner Theophilus Jimega. The Weja Children's Hospital is set to open to the public after the Economic and Organized Crime Office facilitated a handover agreement between the Ministry of Health and the project contractor. In a statement dated July 16, 2026, Iyoko said the agreement was reached after a series of engagements between the parties, despite outstanding issues, including the contractor's claim of unpaid sums and concerns raised by the project financier over procurement processes. The 120-bed specialist hospital located in Wejagbawo municipality of the Greater Accra region has remained unused for more than 2 years despite the completion of its physical infrastructure. The facility was constructed to expand access to the pediatric health care and reduce pressure on major referral centers, including the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and the Princess Marie-Louise Hospital. Yoko, however, noted that investigations into the allegations of procurement breaches, financial improprieties, and also related matters concerning the project are still ongoing. The anti-corruption agency stressed that the handover agreement does not affect all the ongoing investigations. We are still following this story and we'll also bring you more details on that. Let's do some other stories because passengers are unlikely to face immediate transport fare increases as commercial transport operators say the latest fuel price adjustment does not meet the threshold for a fair review. The operators have deployed task force team across the country to prevent drivers from increasing fares without approval, insisting
Class
that the current fuel
91.3
price
FM.
increase cannot justify any adjustments. Speaking to Class News, the national chairman of the commercial transport operators, Asnaba Nana Redu, said the current fuel price increase of about 6% falls between the required threshold for fair negotiations.
Well, we have already put in plans. Let me say plans are far advanced on that particular question that you just asked. That is why we've deployed some of our task force. They should be rotting around hit areas that drivers charge exorbitant fares. And then also, we issue a statement that we cannot do this thing alone. So the assembly, the MMDC, and the DCEC should also deploy their task force in order to come and then help us. You understand? So plans are far advanced. I would say we haven't been able to remove all of them, but I think at least about almost 70 to 80%, I think we've done. So as part of our plans in cabin auditing, we've deployed our task force. The Commercial Transport Operators Task Force, together with the GPRT. So all that we are waiting for is for the left out. So we do normally handle them to the police service, and then the next issue is being done. Some of them, I think the last one that we did, some of them were even taken to court. Do you understand? Some of them were taken to court. Some were even charged 50 penalty unit.
He explained that the task force is working with the Ghana Police Service, Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies to monitor transport terminals and hotspots to ensure drivers comply with the directive.
The next issue is being done. Some of them, I think the last one that we did, some of them were even taken to court. Do you understand? Some of them were even in prison for a month or two or thereabouts. So first, you are still paying the old fare. You haven't gotten to the threshold yet, and nobody is increasing transport fares unless the operator, together with the various road transport or regulators, meet for the current fuel prices hasn't called for a fare increment. So
That's the chairman of the Commercial Transport Operators, Asunaba Nana Aidoo. In some African news, 11 people have died and 19 others injured after the fire outbreak at a foster care facility in Algeria. The blaze, which started earlier Thursday, was tackled by firefighters for several hours before authorities provided an update. The cause of the fire is yet to be determined, but the Algeria's president said children were among those who died. We'll bring you more details on this story subsequently right here on Class 91.3 FM. For more news and update, do log on to classfmonline.com. The morning show continues with Kwame Jumo Ajiman and the team. Listen and enjoy the rest of our programs. I am Elizabeth Aidoo. Good morning.
tournament we've had 102 matches have already been played. Yeah, if you've been watching the games from June the 11th, 102 matches have been played because we had 48 teams at the World Cup and we had a new layer being introduced as far as the World Cup is concerned, which was a round of 32. We've never had that at the World Cup, round of 32. We had as many games in the group stages. We did a round of 32, we did a round of 16, we did a quarterfinal, we did a semi-final, and now we are almost there, which is the final. But before we get into the final later on Sunday, there's a very small matter of a third place game that losers of semi-final games don't want to play. They don't want to play. But for the bronze medal, they are not interested. You are deflated. France are going to be but it will be 7 p.m. Ghana time. That final will be played at the New York, New Jersey Stadium. Up to 85,000 fans are going to be crammed into the stadium on match day. Who is winning this one? I don't know. And I'm not going to get into all the big conversations concerning that till tomorrow when we come your way with the game plan. But before we get into all of that, though, let me keep you up to speed with some stats concerning this year's World Cup. Let's start with the goals scoring, title at this point. Lionel Messi has 8 goals. Kylian Mbappe has 8 goals as well. Erling Braut Haaland has 7 goals. Erling Haaland has since left the competition. So if Kylian Mbappe scores tomorrow, or if he scores more than 1, 2, 3, 4, he could be enhancing his chances of winning the coveted goal king title. When it comes to the assist, Michael Olise of France has assisted on 5 occasions. Lionel Messi has done so on 4, with Bruno Guimaraes on Brazil also doing that on 4. Brazil have since left the competition. Michael Olise and Lionel Messi are still very much in the competition. So who gets to win the one? Well, we'll see what happens after Sunday. For the shot on targets, we also have Lionel Messi in there. He has 2.6 averagely, with Kylian Mbappe averaging 2.7 per game. For the number of shots in this year's competition, Kylian Mbappe is averaging 4.3, with Lionel Messi averaging 4.0. Messi appears to be everywhere. For the number of successive dribbles at this year's World Cup, Volpato of Australia has 4.0. Jamal Musiala of Germany has 3.8, with Lee Kang-in of South Korea on 3.7. With the number of successful tackles at this year's tournaments, Aidoo of Turkey has 5.0, Ait Nouri of Algeria has 3.3, with Kubas of Paraguay on 3.2. For the number of interceptions at this year's World Cup, Palacios of Argentina has 5.0, El Arab of Jordan has 3.3, with Comenencia of Curacao on 3.3 as well. There are loads of stats concerning this year's World Cup, but I'm just choosing some very key ones before the grand finale later on Sunday. For the number of penalties conceded, Kylian Mbappe is there with 1. He's leading that at the moment. The defender with a clean sheet has Marco Cucurella of Spain. He's played in 6 matches where the Spaniards have not conceded a goal yet. Pau Kubasi has also been involved in 6 matches where the Spaniards have not conceded, with Aymeric Laporta of Spain. Incidentally, all of them are with Spain, with 5 in there. The Spaniards have only conceded 1 one goal in all the 7 matches that they played so far, and that was against Belgium. Since that time, they have not conceded a goal in any game as far as this World Cup is concerned. Let's also look at the midfielder with clean sheets for this year's World Cup. Rodri has 5, Adrien Rabiot of France has 4, with Puerta of Colombia also on 4. And then when it comes to the number of clean sheets, the goalkeeper who has not conceded that many goals at this year's tournament, Unai Simon, has played in all 7 matches of Spain. He's conceded a goal in only 1 game, so he has clean sheets on 6 occasions. Mike Mignon of France has 4, with Vargas of Colombia also on 4. When it comes to save percentages, Unai Simon has 90.9%, Lawrence Atizigi of Ghana has 88.9%, and Diogo Costa of Portugal has 86.4. Unai Simon has an opportunity to improve that because his team is still very much in the competition. Lawrence Atizigi with Ghana has long since left the competition. Diogo Costa has also long since left the competition. When we talk of the number of goals that have been conceded by the goalies, Abunada of Qatar conceded as many as 10 goals, with Krukomb of New Zealand conceding 10 goals as well. Room of Curacao also conceded 9 goals in this year's tournament. When we look at the yellow cards for the players, Issa Diop of Morocco had 3 yellow cards. Hassan of Egypt had 2, with Kunasov of Uzbekistan also on 2 yellow cards. There are loads of starts, but we'll leave that till Sunday and keep you up to speed with all of those backstories as far as the World Cup is concerned. By that time, we would have known who would have won the competition.